Hello, gals and pals. Welcome back. Hope you guys are enjoying the month of June and are anticipating excitingly for the month of July. Because summer's here, you gals and pals, and it's time to enjoy the sun and use sunblock, drink lots of water, and eat delicious food. So, I'm back. I took like a long break. I apologize for that, and if not, I apologize because just in case you guys have been wanting a video, but if you guys were sort of like, no, they didn't really need the video, then I apologize for apologizing. But anyways, so I'm back to catch you up. I've been watching Sex and the City, and this video will be about Sex and the City. It's like a review, kind of like a commentary. To those of you that have seen it, hopefully you guys can comment what was your thoughts on the ending of season 2 and the entirety of season 3. So I am currently laying down on my bed, and so talking about Sex and the City. So lay with me to talk about Sex and the City. That sounds a little rated R, but we're gonna keep it PG, even though it's not a PG show. So a little thing. I saw that the show was in the mid-2000s, but I'm gonna do a review about it now because I'm barely seeing that show, and I have not seen that show because I was not into those shows. I think I mentioned it before. I was more into cartoons, which makes sense because I was still a preteen going on to teens. So, well, where do we start? Okay, so on season 2, the ending, Carrie breaks up with Big. They have like a split up, and it was because she was asking for commitment and he wasn't, and so that's why he ran off. Okay, so on season 3, Big comes back announcing engagement, and Carrie is sort of like, what the heck, why is he getting engaged to this girl, but he couldn't offer that to me? He was supposed to have commitment issues, and it's sort of like this on and off thing with her, with Big, to the point towards the mid-season of season 3, my bad, I can't talk, she has an affair with him, and while he is married, he does end up marrying the girl that he is engaged to, and he ends up having an affair with Carrie, and his marriage wasn't that long, okay? And so I don't know, personally, I did not like Carrie during these situations, but I couldn't come to hate her during those times because I was once her. Not the whole having an affair thing and cheating, right? With cheating on her boyfriend, right? With Big. But I was more in the sense where she couldn't set up any boundaries, you know? Like, she couldn't stop herself when it came to Big, and I saw myself in her because I feel like it has happened to some women. It has happened to a lot of us, maybe not just women, but to men and others, that there's always this one person that has so much, that you have so much love for them that you can't come to this point where you just cut them off completely. You kind of just want them there still, maybe even just as a friend, so you don't cut off any ties from them. And Carrie, I saw myself in her because she tried giving Big a chance again they tried working things out, but it wasn't working because he was not committing to a relationship with her. And she was low, like she was downgrading herself. She was like just not, you know, he was just not cooperating with her. So, yeah, he wasn't putting his effort as much as she was, and so that upset her so much. But then when you see her, when she gets back with Big, she lowers her needs, her wants, her boundaries. She just lowers everything. And so just for him to not to go away from her, she could be like, hey, like it's okay, like cool, we can make this work. Let me just downgrade everything about myself for you so you could stay. To see maybe he'll stay if I just lower what I need, which is a big mistake. But obviously during that point you don't see that. And in her case, she doesn't see that because she thinks what she's doing is the right way to do things to make him stay. And it's so frustrating to see that because, you see yourself in her and you go, wow, like it straight up shows that this man doesn't want to commit himself to her. He doesn't want to abide to her, but he wants to be there with her. He wants her around, but just doesn't want the commitment. It's sort of the same saying as we say here is if he wanted to, he would. And that's the same goes in that situation. If he wanted to, he would do exactly that for Carrie. And then after the break with Big, she does end up having a boyfriend who gives her absolutely everything she needs, and she self-sabotages herself by thinking, oh, I don't want this relationship. And it's not that she doesn't want this type of relationship, it's just that she wants it from the guy who couldn't give it to her. And because this guy, Aiden, isn't who she wanted to have to be given it to her, she just becomes very ungrateful about it. And I understand if you don't have these feelings for this person, don't be with this person. But if this person is giving you the world and is assuring you at every moment that they're with you, that they want you, it's sort of heartbreaking to see you just try to push them away because of them giving you everything that you asked for, but it's not the one that you wanted. And it's so sad because in real life, this has happened before. I'm talking for my cases in my life. This has happened to me a bunch of times where the one I wanted doesn't give me what I need, what I want, doesn't exceed my expectations or meet them. But this other person that comes along does exactly what I asked, what I needed someone to do. But yeah, I don't want them because it's not that person that I want. And it's so sad because that's how you lose potential admirers, potential love mates that could be that for you. And it's just, you put everything at risk for someone who's not doing the same for you. And I was once told, I remember, that why would you be this way, act this way, behave this way, when on the other side of the spectrum, as in the other person that you actually did want it, but they didn't want that, aren't doing and aren't feeling that way the way that you are. They're out there living their life. They're out there doing what they want, and you're over here not doing what you want because your mind is going to them and they're not for you. And so it was so frustrating to see how this man, Aiden, was so lovable, so caring. He was funny. He was a stable man. He was very artistic. He was handsome. He was a self-confident man. He was so sure of himself. He was sure of his feelings for her. But yet Carrie was sort of like, what should I do? Like, do I want to be with him, or should I just go back with Big? Or should I even be within this relationship, or should I just forget about him and go to Big, and or just stay single and still think about Big? And it's so sad because you're wasting potential. You're wasting away a potential that could be yours. It's sort of like this was sort of like karma giving you a gift, and you just kind of go, no, but I want this gift. The reason why karma is giving you this gift is because they saw how much you suffered, how much you went through, and they want to make up for that pain by giving you what you truly deserve, something that meets you, like something that meets your standards, maybe even exceeds it, to the point where you just think it's so unbelievable, it's too good to be true. And it's just so sad to see that being wasted away. And it's crazy. And then it's just so sad. In my case, in my opinion, I just think it was so sad. And then seeing it from another perspective, I feel like if you see it from another perspective, instead of just not seeing it yourself, I think seeing it on somebody else just really hits you right in the forehead and go, wow, do you see how that looks? Like, do you see yourself? That's how you look like when you were chasing after someone that wasn't doing the same thing for you. And I absolutely do not believe, this show is really old, so there are certain topics that is just so outdated, so I hope it's not true in today's time, but I think it's not so true. I wish to believe that, but she's a writer, so she writes a column. In her column, she asks this question: if sort of like, do relationships only work if they're like with trauma, or like if they're bad? And I definitely strongly disagree with that. A relationship doesn't have to be toxic or traumatic or problematic to be a good relationship. No, I believe it has to grow from a strong and healthy foundation. And I think back then it was only seen that way because a lot of women related to that. I think even now there is an agreement that we chase those that don't want us, and I think it's still true to this day. But absolutely no one wants to be in a relationship where it's one-sided, or it's traumatic, or trauma bonded as well. Nobody wants that kind of foundation in their relationship, so they just opt themselves out of there, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth your emotional state, it's not worth your mental state, and it's most definitely not worth your physical state, because it's just not worth it. You're better off being single than being in a bad relationship. And so I really did not agree with her that does a relationship has to be problematic in the first place to be a relationship. No, definitely not. It has to be a good standing foundation, because it's just not worth it. People don't have time for that, and just people see their worth, and it's better to be alone, than be with someone that isn't gonna make you happy. So that was one thing that I felt like I wished in some point she realizes that. And then she has this affair with Big, and then it was terrible because she cheats on her boyfriend who has been super honest with her, super loving with her, to her. He was always asking her about her. He cared so much about her that she just didn't think about him. She just went and did it. But I haven't gone through that, and I can't say much on that aspect because I haven't done that, and that has happened to me. But I do not wish that on others, and I hope no one does that to their significant other. But it's always better to just be honest. Yes, that other person will be hurt, but you will avoid conflicts that are like this. I also felt this was so terrible from her part. It was just kind of like, really, are you crazy? No. So she confesses to Aiden of her affair with Big, and then she starts apologizing. She says she doesn't know why she did it. She doesn't know why that happened, what she was thinking, and it's pretty obvious. We all know the answer to that. It's just she didn't know how to put it together, or she just didn't want to say it because she didn't want to face that back to herself. It's not that she didn't want to say it to Aiden, but it's that if she said it out loud, that's just her accepting what it is, you know? And I did not like this part where she tells Aiden to go to the wedding with her and still show up with her and still show up. And I was sort of like, heck, girl, no, you do not do that. That is so not cool. Like, why? How could you ask someone to still be there for you after you just cheated, you know? It's crazy how she just busted out there saying, hey, like, I know we're having problems, but can you still show up with me to your wedding? Like, girl, no, you are crazy to even think that way. No, absolutely not. No, how dare you say that? You just broke someone's heart, and here you are saying, hey, can you still show up with me to the wedding? No, that is super crazy. That is not right. That's like a big no-no. You know, that's so not cool. I thought that was just super messed up from her part. I don't think you should ever tell somebody that. Like, after you just confessed yourself, you still want them there. Like, no, heck no. No. If I was Aiden, I would have told her, what? Are you crazy? After all this, you still want me to be there for you? No. That's absolutely a no. That was crazy to me how she said that. So I just don't understand her. And then there was a scene where she was super obsessively talking about Big the entire time with her friends, and her friends were like, hey, it's getting out of hand. I think you're being obsessed. And she kind of goes, well, that's what friends do. They like talk it out and vent it out. Yes, I understand that part, but like, too much is too much, you know? And her friends are really good friends. I don't know if people thought her friends are just messed up and they don't care about her. No, I think her friends are actually really nice about it too. Like, in other cases, friends would have been like, maybe you should shut the F up, because what the heck? Why are you talking about this guy? And her friends told it to her in a nice way possible, that she should just stop talking about him so much, because it was just too much. And rightfully so, because she did talk about him so much. It was just sort of like, you kind of have to get over it now, because you're the one who has to move on from him, you know? And I don't think he was, I mean, if this was a point of view kind of thing, if we were to see his version, if there was ever a version of him, he wouldn't be talking about her that much, because why would he? If he didn't put too much effort with her in the beginning, why would he do it now? Does that make sense? I mean, yes, someone could change their mind, but it just wouldn't have been there. You wouldn't have been seeing it for sure. And it's just sad. And then I saw myself in her, because I used to be that person too, that I would talk about a certain person over and over again with a friend. And when I see that, I just go, wow, I must have been pretty utterly annoying to that friend. to be talking about this person so obsessively. And I just go, wow, that was me. And the part where Carrie finds out that Big is engaged, it was so heartbreaking to see, because she questioned herself, like, why her? And I do not like that when someone questions themselves, like, why wasn't me? Why wasn't it? Why couldn't it be me? Why was it that person? It's just so terrible, because this person is so great, it's so amazing, and yet they go, what did I have? What didn't I have that that other person had? You can't compare yourself. That's not how it goes. You have great qualities, but if that other person couldn't see it, that's their loss. And it was so heartbreaking, because I've been there. I feel like I related to Carrie so much, because I felt I was her. I had an on and off thing with this person and never went anywhere. And I still to this day think about it, but not as often, because I learned that some people won't do the same for you. So why would I linger in that thought if they didn't want to do the same for me? And that's okay. But I do remember back when I was still single, I do remember thinking back. I do remember hearing news about this one person that I was with, who I had an on and off. I heard something about them that was pretty sad. It was similar to marriage, but it was not. It was more like so I thought this person was soon to be father. And I was really sad, because it was saddening, because I was already thinking, wow, this person, I wanted to have everything with them, but it didn't work out. And now all of a sudden they're gonna have something and everything with someone else, not me. But I moved on, and later on I did ended up finding out that it wasn't true. But either way, I still had to move on, because that person was no longer going to be back in my life, and I wasn't going to be in her life either. So in the way, I saw myself in her. That heartbreaking moment, when you hear news about them, something about them, and you just kind of realize, wow, they're being different with someone else, but when you asked for it, they couldn't deliver. So it was sad to see that. But in season 3, she does tell Big he does come back, but this time he's not married anymore. They had a divorce. She tells him since he painted his wall red, so spoiler if you haven't seen it, but he paints his wall red, and he says, was this a good idea or not? I thought it was. And then she tells him towards the end, look, the red color, let's say she was telling him like a metaphor, our relationship, this thing we have going on, is similar to that red wall of yours. It's a good idea, it's good in theory, but when you actually see it, when you see that wall, it's actually not good. That's how it is between us. And it made perfect sense, because there was something between them. There definitely was something going on between them. It was really, there was a strong chemistry. It's chemical, my bad. There was a strong chemistry between them. But just that it wasn't meant to be, because this just wasn't, I don't think it was, it was meant to be stable, and they spoke on that last episode about soulmates, that there could be, is there a belief that there could only be one, or there could be multiples, and I think there are many different kinds of soulmates, and this is one of those. I feel like Carrie and Big's relationship is this sort of soulmate where they had to cross paths and intertwine together, but it's not meant to stay the way it is. That's how I felt. That's how her connection is with Big, because they couldn't settle at all. And even though he loved her in his own way. I don't even think he loved her. I think he just enjoyed who she is and how she was with him. I think he just loved her company because it was something different. And she did mention it in one episode that it wasn't her trying to break him. It was more like Big trying to break her because she's so wild and free. And I totally see that because she's so high-spirited, she's so free-spirited that I don't think she's meant to be like settled down. Maybe not yet, until someone took her out of that phase. But I feel like it does make sense because I think Big isn't used to that kind of personality, and when he saw that in Carrie, he just was mesmerized by her. But in some version of it, he couldn't really tie himself down to her because it just wouldn't have worked out. And it makes sense because they have like a contrast in personality. He has more of a high class, and she's more of a high class, but she's still sort of in the high spirited kind of high class, and it would make sense if they did settle down. But at the same time, he didn't want to. Or maybe he couldn't because he couldn't compare to her high-spirited and free-spirited personality. And honestly, I feel like if she met someone similar to how she was, I think you would see that. But I really think that their relationship is just so different. Their dynamic is so different that there wasn't any, like, I feel like you could definitely see they are soulmates, but they are not meant to be like stuck to each other. They're meant to be like free birds. And if you notice, when there's the episode when Big is with his wife and they're like looking around furnitures, and Carrie and Aiden is around, you could see there's a similarity with Big and his wife because they come from the same background, but he is wanting to be free, if that makes sense, and only Carrie has that ability to bring them out from him. But I think it's just more like I like how she takes me out of this shell, not more like I love you just the way you are and let me commit myself to you. That's how I see it. And it's those type of soulmates that you just can't change and you just can't do anything about it because it's just not it. He's not the person. And then at the end, she does leave Big and she just goes about her own way and just lives life. But I saw myself a lot in Carrie's character, so much that I was sort of reliving those moments again in my life, seeing how I was and seeing how Carrie is. I go, I must have been like this. This is how I must have looked like to others. And seeing Big reminded me of that person so much that I was sort of like, wow, like, this isn't a me problem. This was their problem. Same goes with Carrie. This isn't her problem. This is a his problem because he's the one that's not doing anything and she is. And she's so great and so amazing, so funny, so high spirited, so free spirited, that she was basing it off of Big. Why Big didn't like her, why Big didn't see her as enough, and it's so sad to see that. And it's sad because it does happen to all of us at some point in our lives. And sadly, it's something that happens. And, there's nothing we can do about it but to learn. And I just hope that if you're going through something like this, please, I don't know, just think about it, Maybe see season 2 to season 3, and you'll start to see, like, wow, like, that sounds like me, that seems like me, that looks like me. And maybe look into that perspective. And if you are in that denial phase, kind of like how she was, that's okay, because we're going through a lot of things, and life is like that. They throw things at you, and you just had to somehow go with it, or either go against the current, or flow with it like the river. Who knows? It's just everyone's life is just so different. But yeah, that was my review on it. That was my take on it. I will review season 4. I think I should be more, I should take down notes. Maybe not notes, but just keep track of what's going on. And I will touch on other characters as well. I want to talk more about Samantha, Miranda, and Charlotte. I think I might be going for Charlotte next time, because I'm starting to relate to her a lot more. If I was still in my single phase, I probably would have related more to Miranda. Maybe because she has like a tough shell, very judgmental shell, and I used to be like that as well back when I was single. And then I ended up becoming Carrie, and think now I'm Charlotte. Haven't hit Samantha yet. Well, who knows? I might someday. Who knows? But hopefully I will talk about each of their characters, because each of their characters is so interesting. It's just every character has their own perfections and imperfections, and you will absolutely identify yourself with each of them in the little way or in a big way. But right now, as I finished the 3rd season, the one who I related the most was Carrie. And it was very upsetting to watch, but it was something that I needed to see, because you just have to see how you look like, right? But yeah, I am going to start season 4 today. Yeah, because I finished season 3 just today, and I will start watching season 4 today as well. It's a really good show. It really is. I love it so much. It's my favorite. I think I'm gonna start doing like reviews on shows that I really like or that catch my attention. So I'm doing right now reviews of, or commentary, Bridgerton and Sex and the City so far. Bridgerton, supposedly season 4 will be coming out in the next 2 years. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try to do a commentary for another show. I'm thinking of doing a commentary of this soap opera. It's called Velvet. It's a Spanish soap opera, and it takes place in the 50s or 40s. But I will watch that eventually. Maybe I'll watch that after Sex and the City, or I'll watch it with Sex and the City. I'm not sure yet, but it sounds pretty interesting. It basically takes place in the 1940s or 50s, and it's at a fashion house sort of thing. But yeah, I will watch that. I don't know. No, not that I don't know that I won't watch it, but I don't know when I'll start watching that show. I don't know if I'll watch it after Sex and the City or before, or with, or during. Who knows? We'll see. Another thing, I spoiled myself. God, I guess because I liked a bunch of Sex and the City threads, another thread came up of Sex and the City, and I spoiled it for myself. I don't know if I should spoil it for you guys if you haven't seen it, but if you have seen it, I'll only say that I spoiled it for myself, that Carrie and Big were having a wedding. That's all I'm gonna say. And I spoiled it for myself, and now I'm like, damn it, why did I do that? Why did I look at it? Curiosity killed the cats. So, yeah. Hopefully I definitely do an upcoming video for season 4 of Sex and the City. Hopefully I do come up with that, because it took me a while to do this review, this video, because I've been super busy. But yeah. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for hearing me out. And thank you so much if you're watching this show along with me, or if you've seen the show, or if you're gonna watch it again. I am so looking forward to any conversation with all of you guys. Anyways, good morning, good night, good afternoon, and enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of the day, your evening, your night, because we're here and we're alive, and thank God for that. So, eat delicious food as always, drink lots of water, take your vitamins, and hope you guys are doing well. Okay, bye guys and pals.